Hello everyone, welcome to yet another session of Global GEG. Global GEG is a group of Google educators. It's a team of volunteer leaders from all around the world. We are here to empower and inspire teachers, schools, and educational communities in fostering environments of deep learning, creativity, and continuous growth. My name is Ritika Tyagi. I'm a Google certified educator and a co leader at Global GEG. I welcome you all once again. And while we are waiting, I would request all of you to please tell us from where you are, your Twitter handle, and let the conversation flow in the chat box. Now, I would like to welcome our special guests for today, Ms. Nilima Chopra and Renuka Rautela. They both are the SEL coordinators and they're really amazing, trust me. They have vast experience in leading different projects for UNESCO. I would just like to welcome them. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, hi everybody.
Okay, so I'm sure we're going to have a wonderful session. Please tell us something about yourself and then we can proceed with the session here.
Hi everybody, I am Renuka and I work at UNESCO MGIP as an SEL coordinator. Previously, I've been a teacher working with some schools and I'm very excited for today's session. Hope we have a great time together.
Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Nilima Chopra. I'm with UNESCO as an SCL coordinator, and I'm delighted to be here with all of you. Looking forward to a very fruitful and interesting session today.
Okay, I think we can proceed with the session now, Ma. We can take it over.
Sure, thanks. So hi everyone, I'm going to quickly share my screen. Greetings everyone, very warm welcome to all of you to the SCL for Teachers workshop organized by UNESCO Mahatma Gandhi Institute of Education for Peace and Sustainable Development and powered by the Google Educator Group. So before we begin, I would like to introduce ourselves and the organization. So MGIP, also known as UNESCO MGIP, is UNESCO's Category 1 research institute in the Asia Pacific region. And our mandate is to mainstream social and emotional learning in education systems. We strongly believe that for building peaceful and sustainable societies, the missing link is social and emotional learning, also popularly called as SEL. And as introduced, I am Renuka, and I work at the Institute as an SEL coordinator. And today I'm also joined by Dr. Nilima Chopra, my amazing colleague, who also works at the Institute as an SEL coordinator. So today, together, our agenda is to share with you a new online course, an interactive new online course that has been designed for the most hardworking but often neglected stakeholders of our education system, our teachers, and that is you. And the course that we are here to offer you is called SEL for Teachers. It focuses on supporting teachers to understand SEL and provide them with the tools that they need for their well-being and those of their students. So with that, let me invite you for a short check-in. So we're going to dive into our emotions and going to see what we are feeling right now. So just like how you can check into, say, hotels, or maybe check into flights and airports, and I know most of us haven't had a chance to do it in the longest time, but just like how you can check in into spaces, you can also check into your emotions. So when I say check in into your emotions, I mean you should be able to identify how you're feeling and you should be able to articulate it, or you should be able to name it for yourself. Okay, so let's dive in for today's check-in, and we're going to play it a little fun. So this is your check-in question. If your current mood were the weather, what would it be? For example, a sunny day could mean that you are feeling happy or joyful, energetic. A gloomy day could mean that you're feeling a little bored, a little dull today. A rainy day could mean you're feeling sad, upset, stressed a little. Or a stormy could be for the feeling of anger and annoyance or irritation. So tell us what your weather forecast is for now, and you can be all innovative with that, and you can be all innovative with your weather reports. So we encourage you to let us know your emotions, your weather as of now on the chat. Thank you. So we'll wait for some of our responses. In the meantime, Nilima, tell me, what is your weather report today?
Oh well, Renuka, mm, I feel like a cool breeze today, a cool breeze.
Wow, that's good to know. And why is that, if I may ask?
Well, I think it's because I'm looking forward to a cool weekend that's just coming up. So, it makes my mood feel like that. So, yeah. What about you, Renuka? How are you feeling?
Oh, I mean, I think I'm going to associate with the sun today, because I am doing a little jiggle dance inside. I feel that we started really well, so it's going to be a sunny afternoon for me.
Okay, that's nice. Nice to hear that. Looking at some of the responses from our participants, just to see what their weather or emotional check-in is like. So I'm seeing responses like I feel like a snowman. It's fluctuating. The weather is sunny sometimes. There is a sudden rain. Yes, so I feel that the weather also is reflected in our emotional check-ins. And these emotional check-ins are really useful and helpful for all of us. Let me tell you why. Our body sends physical cues about how we are feeling much before any of these emotions are fully registered. And by sometimes we have tense shoulders, sometimes we start walking or pacing around in the room, sometimes our heart starts pounding or racing, sometimes our palms are sweaty. All these are body cues which basically help us to tune in to our emotional well-being. And these are important because if we want to help ourselves, we need to have accurate assessments. If we want to plan helpful interventions for our own selves, we need to first assess our emotional and mental well being through these regular emotion check ins. Uh, and here I would like to say that SCL for Teachers course that we will shortly be talking about is a course which helps our participants to do exactly this. And continuing with the purpose of the session, I would say that today we will be discussing two important points. First, we will familiarize our participants with what is social and emotional learning and what is the course SCL for Teachers. And then we will also introduce our participants to our digital AI powered platform by UNESCO MGIP, which hosts this course, SCL for Teachers. So with this, we will be covering a few questions. We will be taking on a few essential questions during this session. What is social and emotional learning? Why teachers need SCL? What does SEL for Teachers course have to offer to our participants? What are the tools and strategies that we will be building through this particular course, which will help enhance or promote the well-being of our participants? And as discussed, we will also be talking about what is Framerspace, the platform on which this course is available. So let's begin our quest on finding out what is SEL. I hand it over to you, Renuka.
And emotional learning. Now, universally, organizations have a varied understanding of this term, but as much as there are differences, there are also similarities. So when we look at most of these frameworks and organizations, they have certain commonalities. So let's look at those commonalities now. So most of them identify SEL as the process of acquiring knowledge, competencies, skills, and attitudes to do 5 important things. The first one is recognize and manage emotions. The second one is to develop a concern for the others. The third is to establish more deep, meaningful, and positive relationships. And the fourth is to make responsible decisions which are rooted in rationality and logical thinking. And the last is to be able to handle challenging situations. And the purpose is that when you do all of this, you're able to create a more peaceful and a more sustainable system of existence for yourself and for the people that surround you and for this entire world. Now, there are 2 very interesting things that you must also know about SEL. I hope you're equally excited as much as I am to share this with you. So, evidence from neuroscience tells us 2 things about SEL. One is that just like how intelligence and cognition are situated in our brains, and this is something that you and I have learned all our lives. So just like this, emotions are also situated in your brain. Our brain has this beautiful capability. It can form new neural connections, and it also has these dedicated networks that identify and understand emotions, relationships, and help us navigate them too. And the second interesting thing that you must know about SEL is that just like how you can learn to cook, learn to play guitar, maybe learn to play a sport, or learn any new skill in your life, you can also learn social and emotional learning. And you don't have to be at any particular stage and age. You can do that at any given time. And this has been made possible because, again, our brain has this beautiful capability of being able to be molded, to form new neural connections and new neural circuitry, which is also called, and this entire phenomenon is called neuroplasticity. So our brains can be molded. So with that, let me show you what UNESCO MGIP, how UNESCO MGIP understands SEL. So we do respect, these principles and whatever we did on the previous slide, but with that, we have this understanding of SEL. So for us, SEL is learning that equips all learners to do 3 things, okay? 1, identify and navigate emotions. 2, practice mindful engagement. And 3, exhibit pro-social behavior for human flourishing towards a peaceful and sustainable planet. So I can imagine it might be a little challenging to understand all of them together. So let's break them one by one, okay? Let's look at the first one, which says identify and navigate emotions. Now, let us try understanding this from a very simple example. Now, imagine a hypothetical imagination. Now, imagine it is a regular school day at work. You are back to school and the kids are back to school. But today happens to be a very tough and tiring day for you. You've had back-to-back classes. You've had very little to eat. It's so hot you can't even imagine. And you finally enter the last class for the day, okay? And when you enter, obviously there's something which is happening in the background, and you ask your students for their assignments. Now, surprisingly, you realize that more than half of your class has not completed the assignment. And this is despite you reminding them thrice over emails, personally meeting them and reminding them for the homework. Now, imagine this happening to you in this very moment. Think about it. tell me how would you feel, how you would feel as this teacher. You can drop down your answers on the chat. So we'll wait for some answers to come. So Nilima, by the time our lovely guests write their answers, how do you think you would feel about it?
Yeah, so, considering that I've had a difficult day and now my students are not, have not completed the assignment that I've given them, I would feel disappointed. That disappointment, I think, would turn into some kind of I would also feel angry at times, would want to vent out this emotion on maybe students, on my fellow teachers. So I think it can spiral into a number of emotions resulting from this particular situation.
Angry, upset. So yeah, I mean, these are rightful expected responses. But which is good to know, right? Like most of us can identify our emotions and at least can name them. It's also one of the first steps to become an SEL teacher. But also, like, we must recognize that just being able to articulate it, I mean, where does it take us? We still could have no control over emotion. So that's where we come to this point of managing our emotions, to be learning to navigate it in a way that is constructive for everybody, for the students, for yourself. So like at this moment, like it's easier said than done. But then one of the easiest ways to identify, to be able to manage your emotion is to ask yourself, okay, I am feeling angry in this entire situation, but what do I need in this moment to feel better? And perhaps when you ask that question to yourself, you might get one or two responses and you might want to try doing them. For example, you might want to feel like having a cold, chilled glass of water because it's hot already. Or you might want to take a break and you might want to say, okay, I'm just going to, for the next 2 minutes, I'm going to stand next to the window and not talk to any of these kids and just try to reflect. Or maybe you might want to, listen to some music or step out of the classroom for a while and come back again to have a meaningful conversation with your children. So it's equally important, as much as identification, it's equally important to be able to also navigate the situation, that particular emotion. So that's what the first part of this entire definition was. And the second one, which is equally important. So to be able to do this, to be able to ask yourself, what do I need in this moment? You also need to be able to have this really essential skill, which is mindfulness. Now, to be mindful or mindfulness means to be present in this current moment, in the now, without letting the worries of the past or the future ghost you. There's also another thing that you must know about mindfulness is that it's equally important to not judge your experiences. So, for example, in the previous case, when you felt angry or disappointed about it, coming to a conclusion that, oh, I'm a perpetually angry person, or I'm not a great person, I'm not a happy person, are also not great things to do, because mindfulness tells us to be in this moment. And if you can recognize that you're feeling upset and angry about something, you must work on it so that you don't form these generalized statements about yourself. So don't judge your experiences, is what mindfulness is teaching us to do. And the great part is that we all do mindfulness in some or the other ways. Perhaps we don't know. So let us try doing one short activity on mindfulness. And this one's called focus breathing. So by the very name, you can imagine that this is going to invite you to pay attention and to focus on your breath, to consciously focus on your breathing. So if you are in and if you are willing to participate with us, I would like to invite you for a short focused breathing practice. So for this, I want you to take up a comfortable seat, a comfortable posture. Relax and let loosen. When you're ready, you can either close your eyes or you can keep them slightly lowered, letting some light enter into them. And when you're ready, I want you to place one hand on your belly, your abdomen, and the other hand on your chest. Now take a deep breath from your nose slowly and let your belly expand, just like an inflated balloon. And then slowly let the air come out through your nose and see your belly fall just like a deflated balloon. Now again, take a deep breath slowly and observe your belly rise. And take a deep breath out slowly and let your belly fall. We'll do this exercise 3 more times to the count of 4. And in case you feel lost in the activity, then just use my voice to anchor you again and follow it. We will beat to the count of 4, starting now. Take a deep breath. 1, 2, 3, 4. Take a deep breath out. 4, 3, 2, 1. Again, we breathe in. 1, 2, 3, 4. And breathe out. 4, 3, 2, 1. We breathe one last time. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we breathe out. 4, 3, 2, 1. Now take your hands to a comfortable position and observe your natural course of the breath. Inhalation and exhalation. And when you are ready, then I want you to take a few more seconds with yourself and thank your body and thank your mind for supporting you through every second of the day, for being with you, for taking care of you, for your mental, emotional, and physical well-being. Thank your body and thank your mind. And once you're ready, you can open your eyes slowly. And if you feel comfortable to share with us, then you can let us know how you're feeling after this exercise on the chat box. We'll wait for some of your responses. Nilima, could you participate with us on this activity?
Oh, yes. Thank you, Renuka, for that. It was an amazing experience. It has really calmed me down. I feel, I'm now ready for the maybe the challenges for the day and ready to, carry on with my work with better attention and focus. So thank you so much for that, Renuka. And I believe we are getting some responses from our participants, our teachers in the audience. Well, we the participants are saying that it was helpful, it has calmed them down, they're feeling like floating in the cloud. It feels like a Headspace app, very calm and relaxed. So yes, it is making our friends across the globe feeling more calm and focused.
Sharing a piece of you and also for letting us know how our other participants are feeling. One thing that I want to also establish that mindfulness does not always have to be about meditation or guided practices or contemplative journals. You can try to be mindful in everything that you do. For example, you can be mindful in this moment when we are interacting. You could be mindful by showing that you're listening, by actually listening, by looking at the presentation, by participating on the chat, by being fully present to what you are experiencing right now. You can also be mindful when you're eating. So today, maybe in the next meal that you have, try to be mindful of what you're eating. Try tasting every ingredient, every flavor on your palate. So that would be mindfulness. You could be mindful while you are painting, while you're doing an art, while you're cooking. So all of us can be mindful, and it's not that hard. I think that's what I want to establish here. So with that, let me quickly now take you to the last bit of it. So far we understood that SEL at MGIP is identifying and navigating emotions. It's also practicing mindful engagement. And the third, which is equally important, is to be able to exhibit pro-social behavior for human flourishing towards a peaceful and sustainable planet. But what does that mean? So pro-social behaviors are behaviors that we do for the well-being of others. And these others are not necessarily people that we know and we love, but these others are like, your acquaintances, maybe somebody that you have even never met. And also to help you understand that it doesn't necessarily have to be about people. It can also be for the environment. It could also be for the animals. And to help you understand what pro-social behavior is, like acts of kindness, acts of compassion, volunteering, donating, helping, these are all identified as pro-social behavior. And one, again, interesting thing that you must know about pro-social behavior is that when you do something nice for somebody and not expecting anything in return, but you also feel good about it. So there is enough evidence from the research that tells us that when we are kinder to the other person, then obviously the other person feels good, but we also end up feeling good about this. So if you want, in any day you're feeling really low, just go on and do something good for somebody and see how it makes you feel. And I think one of the last things that I want to establish here is that the big idea or our strong belief is that if you can do all of these three things, identify and navigate your emotions, practice mindful engagement, and exhibit pro-social behavior, then there is no possible way that we can't attain a more peaceful and a more sustainable planet for living. So I think with that, let me ask maybe somebody to post the Padlet discussion. So we're going to quickly paste a link on the chat, and we would like to hear what is something that you learned about social and emotional learning so far. Okay, so now you should be able to see the Padlet discussion. You can just simply go on, click on it, and it will take you to a window. And there should be, at the extreme right bottom, there should be a plus icon. Click on that plus icon and tell us something that you learned about SEL today. So maybe I'll also open the Padlet discussion. Okay, so somebody said SEL is very important for teachers. SEL is critical even outside the classroom. I know some of you are still typing. SEL is critical. Okay, identifying and managing emotions. Good to know that. We need to take a few steps back and be mindful of our emotions. Deep. SEL is vital in teaching and learning. Good. Okay, I still see some people typing, so I'm going to wait for these ones. SEL is very important for teachers. What about you? I mean, if you're not a teacher, do you think it's applicable for everybody else outside? SEL needs to be taught in the class now. I really like how the now has been highlighted, big and bold. Okay, great. So I will continue to welcome you all to flood this page. And somebody also said SEL is important for everyone, for all ages. Great, thank you for sharing that. In the meantime, let's try looking at the next question. Nilma, would you like to take a lead on this?
Yes. So regarding the last activity, I think some very interesting responses, and I especially liked SCL should be taught in the classes, in the classrooms, because it's so important for both teachers as well as for students. So just focusing at the moment on why it is important for teachers. Uh, I'm going to read out a few statements, you know, and I would invite the participants for the session to just reflect on these statements. You don't have to say it out loud, or if you want to tell us through the chat box, you're most welcome. But it is this exercise or this activity is more for reflection purpose. So the statement goes: I feel my job is tough. As a teacher, I feel my job is tough. As a teacher, I feel my job is quite tiring. It's physically exhausting, even mentally tiring at times. Some days are so difficult that I ask myself, why am I even doing this? I feel less motivated ever since COVID happened. So these are just reflection points that we want you to reflect on, because many teachers around the globe are struggling with these questions and wondering about these issues. And let me share some research related to these statements that I said earlier. Research tells us that teaching profession is one of the most challenging professions. And many teachers are feeling tired, burnt out, especially during the pandemic time. Research also suggests that teachers' well-being is at an all-time low. They are stressed, anxious, and unsure of their profession. And COVID has definitely enhanced these challenges further. And here I would like to emphasize on something very important. Stress is contagious. It's like yawning. You see somebody yawn, and immediately, it happens that you also start yawning. So something like that. It is contagious. And the scientific term that has been coined for this is stress contagion. In a study in 2016, there was a talk about stress contagion in the classroom, which links the classroom teachers' burnout and morning cortisol levels in the students, which means that student stress is proportional to teacher stress, and the student's performance is also proportional to teacher stress. So when there is high level of stress in the teacher, it tends to lead to a lower academic performance and social engagement among students in her class or his class. Also, there is early burnout in the year proportional to classroom with behavior problems, which means that teachers who report more stress also report more behavior problems in their classrooms. So, all this evidence from research suggests that SEL is very important for teachers because it provides the teachers with the tools to manage their mental and social emotional well-being. Now, when these tools, SEL tools are provided to the teachers. They tend to become more calmer. They are able to navigate their emotions. They are able to manage their behavior, and they are able to achieve an optimal level of functioning in the classrooms. And this results in better SEL outcomes even in the students. So it's like a win-win situation. When you improve SEL for students, for teachers, you are indirectly improving the SEL outcomes for students as well. And with this objective in mind, at UNESCO MGIP, we have designed a 4-module course on SEL. And the course is titled SEL for Teachers. Now, as mentioned earlier in the session, this course is hosted on Framerspace. This is MGIP's AI-powered interactive learning platform. Now, this is a free platform, so anywhere sitting, anywhere across the globe, they can participate on this platform. They can take a course on this platform and even create certain courses on this platform. The platform is also GDPR compliant, which means that we do not collect any personal identification information from the users. And therefore, your personal identity is safe and secure. So with this background, I would request Renuka now to share the course, show the course to our participants, and take us forward from here.
Thank you, Nilima. So I'm going to quickly share a different screen. Yes. Okay. So, so let me take you on the home page. So if you type in framerspace.com, you will be taken to a page that looks very similar to this, actually this. And it has a couple of courses here, which have all been created by UNESCO MGIP. And these are all our public courses. So on the same page, one of the courses would be titled as SEL for Teachers. Now, all you have to do is go on, click on this link, and then you will be taken to the course. So you can obviously read the course description here. This is a certification course, which means if you're successfully completing it with correct responses and participating in as much as possible, then you will receive a certificate of excellence here. As Nilima said, it is a 4-module course, which I can quickly show you. So this is module 1. It talks about social and emotional learning for educators. So here, basically, we talk about what is SEL, why is SEL important, and familiarize you with some of the important frameworks, SEL frameworks in the world. The second one is called the EMC square framework. Now, if you remember the Einstein mass equivalence relationship, we all studied that at school. E is equal to be MC square, then probably it will be easier to remember. So at UNESCO MGIP, we identify empathy, mindfulness, compassion, and critical inquiry as 4 non-negotiable and 4 very important competencies for SEL. So this is our framework. So when you dive into this module, you will learn a lot about this framework. You will understand each of these competencies theoretically, as well as how you can build it in yourself. The third one is about how can we use SEL for better managing our classrooms and increasing positive and constructive behaviors in the classroom spaces. The fourth one is how can we use SEL for building more deeper and meaningful relationships with our students, and how can we encourage that the same to happen between the students as well. So these are the 4 modules, and before I go on and dive and try to show you the details, a little bit more of details, this also comes with an introduction module, and I would sincerely urge you to take the introduction module, because this actually talks a lot about what's going to happen in the course. So it prepares you, and it also has some very important frequently asked questions that we receive throughout, and we want it to be answered for you very clearly. It will also tell you what is the certification process and the criteria. And as you end this introduction module, we begin with the first mindfulness activity of the course, which is being and existing like the blue sky. And this is followed by a very small module on that measures your social and emotional quotient. It's an assessment, so see how you're doing on that. And each module, let me just show you module 1 maybe. So each module begins with laying down the learning outcomes and what is expected of this. What are you expected to learn by the end of the module? There's an opening practice, which is usually a check-in. So you've done the first one, actually. We did the check-in of the weather and the mood. So that is what this is going to be. And we have different check-ins throughout the courses. And as you go down, this you can engage in the learning. We're talking about learning more about SEL here. We use a combination of, which I should tell you, we use a combination of 5 digital pedagogies, which are also called as the Libre process. So we use storytelling in our courses. We use narratives, dialogues in our courses. We use reflections in our courses, inquiry methods, and games and gamification. So throughout all the modules, you'll find all of these happening. And the other thing is, in terms of assessment, you will find different kinds of questions. So you will find quick check for understanding questions like MCQs. You will also find questions which are like one word, one line answers, or fill in the blanks. Then you'll also have, let's say, a text box type answers where you're expected to reflect a little more. And lastly, you also have dialogues. Now, dialogues are a great opportunity if you want to know how the others are also thinking about or feeling about something. So, for example, this is a dialogue box, and where you can learn what somebody's opinion is about SEL and also share yours. So it's like, community learning and an intercultural dialogue that's happening here. And let me also show you, I think we have some time. Yeah. So let me show you one activity that probably will incite you to join the course. Just give me 1 second. Yes. So often in the narrative of, being kind and compassion, we always think of it as something that we have to do for somebody else outside us. Kindness for somebody else, compassion for somebody else. But a narrative that actually gets lost in this entire way of looking at life is the compassion towards the self. And this is where we bring you, in this particular activity, we talk about the true value of compassion. And we say that compassion is not just about doing something for somebody else, but it's equally thinking about yourself too. And all you need to do is make a balance between compassion for yourself, for the others, and even the environment and the animals, which often gets neglected again. So, for example, in this particular activity, and I can quickly show you, we are, it's a very popular activity, and we are asking you to think of a time, when a close friend or a family member reached out to you with the problem in their life, with the concern that they had, with the distress. And we ask you to describe the struggle here. So it's a reflection-based question. And then we also ask you that, when this happened last time, or when it generally happens, how do you respond to this friend of yours? And we let you think about the kind of tone, the posture, the body language, the gestures that we will use to communicate that. And then we take you to imagine that what if this was happening to you? What if not to your friend, but to you? How would you respond to yourself? And, there is enough evidence that tells us that we don't respond in the same kind and compassionate manner to ourselves that we do with our friends. So we're actually much harsher on ourselves. And so we try to change the narrative and make you imagine, make you begin to think about converting the inner enemy to the inner ally. So here we take you through understanding what self-compassion means. So we introduce a framework to you, which, believe me, really works. So this framework here right now has 3 components: self-kindness, common humanity, and mindfulness. And these are very simple to understand. So there is some knowledge building that helps, and there's a case study that helps you identify what each of these mean. And once you are able to do that for somebody else, like a hypothetically created story, you're allowed to give an opportunity to kind of do it for yourself. And if you continue to see this course, and by the end of this, you will get the opportunity to respond to yourself in a more kinder and less nastier way. But the point that I'm trying to build here is that if you take this course, not just as a course that I want to gain a certificate on and become an SEL teacher certification and stuff, but if you take it from a lens where you really want to begin to make a change in your life, slowly and steadily. Definitely, if you want to do that, then this is a great place to start from. It's an introduction module that's going to motivate, introduction course that's going to motivate you to begin to become more empathetic, more compassionate, more mindful, more inquiry driven. So I think I mean, take the course. It's not a very long course. It's actually, this version of the course is about 10 hours maximum that it would take to an average person to complete this with all reflections. And I mean, all I can tell you is that people who've taken the course have had great things to say. They've had some moments where there's sudden realization, and they've used some of these techniques to help them become more emotionally aware, and to take care of their mental and emotional well-being. So I think with that, yeah, so you can continue, you can log in to Framerspace to actually participate on the course, and it's going to be on the homepage forever. So I think with that, I'm going to invite you to share your questions and queries. Yeah, so that's all. So maybe you can type down your questions on the chat.
Yes, Renuka, I think thank you for that information. So I can see a few questions on the chat box, so we can take those. And in the meantime, if you can also tell us where to reach, how to reach, some information about, how to get more information about this course. If you can, give us some email IDs or the links. Shall we use the link posted in the chat box to go to the course? Do we? Yes. So thank you for that.
Thanks a lot,
Oh,
Nima. Yeah. So I think
yeah.
there are a few questions maybe. So one thing, yes, you can reach out to us on this email ID, selforteachers@gmail.com. We would love to interact with you and love to share more details with you. I can also ask, so I can already see there's a link for the course, SEL for Teachers course, the Framerspace link. And maybe we can also paste the link to the brochure.
Yeah. In the meantime, there is a question on certification. Would you like to take that question, Renuka, about the certificate being provided for the course, and how does that happen? Could you tell us more about it?
So, as I said, this is a certification course, which means that if you successfully complete it, you get a certificate. All we encourage you to do is that you participate in the course, participate in all or almost all reflection questions. There are a lot of MCQ questions which are also being evaluated, but all of those questions are completely based on what you are learning on the course. So it's nothing out of the blue. So if you are really mindful on the course, then I see no reason why you should not be able to get the certificate. The certificate, I saw somebody asked about AI driven. Yes, the certificate is AI driven. I mean, it's an automated generated certificate. So you don't have to contact us. If you are completing it successfully, the system is going to evaluate you at the end of the 4 modules and is going to give you your certificate that you can treasure.
So there's another question on is this available in any other language? So as of now, the course is available in English, and we are in the process of translating the course and providing the course in many other languages. It depends on the interest that we receive from our participants. So we encourage you to, express your interest by writing to us on the email ID that we have provided, and we'll definitely look into this. We are encouraging translations in different languages as of now. Okay, Renuka, I think there is another very important question related to, which a lot of our participants might feel that what if they are not very comfortable with, computers? How user-friendly is the platform Framerspace for our participants?
Yeah, so I personally feel that it's not that tough. You can, or it's a very simple login process and a sign up process. So once you're done with that, the course is visible to you as a public course, and it's pretty user friendly. So it's very clickable. So the system is going to show you enough ways in which you will understand that where am I supposed to do what and how am I supposed to navigate the course. So I think it's pretty user friendly. Should not be a very big challenge. So I also see somebody has said, I want the course in Hindi. The good news is the course is being translated in Hindi. We did receive a lot of, a lot of people reached out to us with Hindi course for SEL for teachers, and we are planning to launch it sometime next month early. So if you are interested to see the Hindi version too, please write to us on the same email ID. We can respond back.
So I see a question on, is it possible to use or undertake the course on mobile devices? So yes, you can definitely take the course on mobile devices, and it is friendly. It is user friendly on a mobile phone also. Anything else that you would like to add, Renuka, on this?
No, I think we did well. Yeah, we've responded to almost all the questions. Somebody said, is all of this freely available? Yes, all of this is freely available. All the courses on the homepage are freely available. Oh, somebody said, oh, so happy.
Okay, so just let me take this moment to ask you, Renuka, what is your favorite part of the course?
What is my favorite part of the course? Wow, nobody asked me that question ever. I think my favorite part of the course is actually being able to take SEL into the classroom spaces. To be able to see how all of this which has been learned can be meaningful for my children and for my class. So I think that will also hold a lot of meaning for the teachers. Like once they understand SEL, to also take them to the class. And the good news is that we also have an upcoming workshop on completely dedicated to SEL for classroom spaces, cultivating SEL for classrooms. So that's going to happen next week, right? Next week, Friday. So maybe we hope to see some of our participants and most of our participants there. So I think that was an interesting high for me on that course. Okay, one question. Yeah, sorry, Nilima, you want to say something? Please go ahead.
Yeah, so I said the timing of your response couldn't have been better because we are seeing that there is a similar interest, of taking SEL into the classrooms. Yes, SEL for teachers helps you in taking the SEL into the classroom and plan classroom activities. And like Renuka just mentioned, there is another workshop happening on 25th, which will also talk about SEL in classrooms. So.
I just see one last question. Does the course teach you to take online learning to translate to in-person? Did you take online learning to translate to in-person class? Yes, of course, yeah. So there are enough elements in the course which will help you do that. And if you want to engage more with it, please take the course. So I think we are largely done here.
Yes, I think we don't see any further questions. But if you have any further questions, you are most welcome to write to us on the provided email address and to contact us for these queries. We will be happy to answer them. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much, Renuka and Nilima. As a teacher, I am definitely looking forward to that course, and I totally enjoyed the session. It was amazing. I got so many things to learn that I would definitely try in my classes as well. Uh, so everyone is loving the session. We've received some really good feedback about it. I am just going to post the feedback link in the chat box, and I'll request everyone to fill the feedback. The feedback link is given over here as well in the chat box. So this is the link. You can fill the feedback form. And as Renuka said, if you have any doubts, you can please mail them. Okay, so I had a wonderful time. I'm sure everyone did. Thank you again, once again, Renuka and Nilima. And Vignesh says that he has some questions, so he's going to write it to you. Okay, thank you once again. It was so nice having you both.
Thank you, Ritika. Thank you, GEG. Thank you for giving us the opportunity.
I would
And
just
thanks
request
to
everyone-
all the participants also from my side.
Thank you, Nilima and Renuka. I would request everyone to follow Global GEG channel. You can watch our videos later and then you can learn a lot through them. Also, once again, please fill the feedback form and thank you for joining us. Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody. Bye.